I'm not showing you my hat then.
Is it Leatherface or not? I can't see.
Oh, there's the side.
Oh wow.
It's all pinned up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then who is that? Yeah, it's Leatherface. That's what I thought. Did you sew that on?
And then
floss? Did you use dental floss to sew that on?
No, I think that's just good thread. It might be dental floss. I don't know.
I would have thought you would have used dental floss.
I usually do, man. I prefer the dental floss.
Why is that? You want it to look like a Frankenstein stitch?
Well, it's just stronger, dude. Well, yeah. I mean, aesthetically, I use white, but
it pops better.
I use white for repairs, and I use what is it called? Black if I don't want it to be seen,
Right.
Sometimes, yeah. If I'm doing a fucking spooky horror punk patch, yeah, I'm gonna use some Franken stitches, bro.
Scalpel stitches, scissors, skin, right?
Yeah, I think that's what Chuddy says, right?
Yeah.
You like my scarf? I'm all like warm for that. Yeah, I can't get this reverse thing right.
Is that the Blitzkid? Oh, that must go for a lot of money, the Blitzkid scarf.
I don't know. I got two of them, so I don't know. I'm not exactly
that's the European licensing deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they printed up a bunch of really, really crazy stuff.
Yes,
were you able to track all of it down?
I got a lot of it, dude. Or you know what? I had a lot of it, and when I got robbed with Old Gravy, fucking, I lost a bunch of key shit. So, and it's a little discouraging. And then all of a sudden, all the Blitzkid vinyl started getting like even too rare for even like a dude who was in Blitzkid can't even track that shit down anymore. So like,
how much question? So how much is a split personalities? I have 2 split personalities is on vinyl.
Not very much. Not very much. I had a couple of those by accident, actually. Like I ended up with an extra one somehow.
Yeah.
And
what's not very much?
Baby, you here? How much did split personality sell for the one I gave you to flip that time? About $100, dude. $7,500.
$100. That's a lot.
In Blitzkid vinyl world, that's not a lot, man.
I'll tell you, I never go on Discogs. I went on Discogs because I got the last X 40th anniversary gold foil Los Angeles 180 gram vinyl, only 500 made. Yeah, wait, that's right.
Last what? X, huh? Gold foil? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Let me slow it down. The band X, they have an album called Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
They just re-released it, 40th anniversary. It now is going for $200. Just sold out, limited to 500 pieces. I'm not a vinyl guy. I'm not in the vinyl market, but I have a bunch of choice pieces. I have my Death Red Sabaru goes.
I got it. Yeah, you got the red one, right?
Yeah, the red one goes for a pretty penny now.
I believe, buddy, that I think I have everything connected to the release of that record.
The urn?
With the exception of the urn.
The urn is that's the golden goose right there.
Dude, I'll tell you, I could have got it. Like it wasn't at the point, at the depth I was into the Death Red Sabbath collection. At the time it came out, I had some money. I was doing all right, and I could have got the urn. It was even affordable, but A, I didn't think it was that fucking cool, and B, all the reviews of it
was not that
said
cool.
Everyone was saying the ship's broken, dude. Like so many of them were showing up broken.
You want to know what else?
Like,
freaking I bought it. I bought the red one. I just bought it on red vinyl because I thought it was 1,000 pieces, but I never thought that it would be worth. I forgot how much it's worth. It's worth a lot. It's worth a few $100s now. Death Red.
I saw
10 years ago. I can't get over that it's worth that much.
There's a couple of them, man.
Guess how much Black Lady Crown is going for right now on sale. And I got to tell you, I don't like Black Lady Crown, if I'm being honest.
I didn't get it on vinyl. I don't know, man. it's like you said, man. I have choice stuff where like shit comes out, and if I have money, I collect it, and if I don't, I don't. Like
it's currently the black vinyl is going for $7 right now. I'm like
Black Lady Brown.
Yeah, on Nuclear Blast Records. Like I feel like look,
I wouldn't expect it. $7, right?
$7.
Might as well pick it up, man.
It's a gatefold. Wow, and I don't have Skeletons, but I have Death Red. I have Danzig Sings Elvis.
I have Skeletons. I don't have Elvis.
I'm so stupid. I bought the Elvis. I bought the black Elvis, the black vinyl, because I was like, oh, this is
Black Elvis. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Well, it's the last pressing. I thought it was the last pressing, and it
wasn't. Like a cool cat.
They did so many more pressings, so it's like I just feel like I think Danzig Sings Elvis isn't going to be worth anything. Truthfully,
there are a lot. Yeah, there are a lot of pressings of it.
It's too much, man. There's too much out there. But
yeah, I'll tell you that as a collector, that's very discouraging to me. Like when I see too many pressings and the pressings are too limited. Like especially when they put them all on sale at once, man. When there's 5 different options, like at once like that, it just you got to be ready to. And they're all like 100, 200, 300. I just got an email from you. Oh, on Facebook, gotcha.
Yeah, the Nuclear Blast. It's going. I'm sorry. It's for $7.79.
That's not a fan because that would be $7.77 if it was.
I just think it didn't sell at all, and they just have so much of it, and they're just like, oh, Black Friday.
Dude, I might just buy it right now. To be honest with you, $7.77.
I feel like I should own it too. I just feel like I should own it. I don't like.
So let me buy it, bro. They got more than one.
They got tons of them.
Oh, okay. For $7.77.
Joe, we can all own them. All 138 of us can own them. It's not rare. That's my point. That's why it's $7.98.
I'll take that gamble on anything Danzig for $7.
I'll tell you one thing. My first pressing of Initium is worth a couple $100 now.
Did you get yours? You got yours with me, right?
No, I got mine for $50 in New York City from a Jagoff record store owner, Rocket Records, St. Mark's.
I got mine in the wild as well.
Steve Zing, I had Steve Zing sign it and draw a little bat on it I don't think I'll ever sell it, but I thought, I'll make this a little bit more valuable. I don't like records.
Make it a piece.
But when they sign on the picture, like I want you to find a little piece of real estate where there's no writing or graphics or anything. Sign your name there. Don't get it on the actual layout of the album. That upsets me. I don't want that there. Use a chrome marker to do it if it's on black. I'm a happy guy.
You've got to be prepared for that. You can't expect someone to have that shit.
I was it just so happened that I had gone over to Steve's house to get the record verified. He's like, yeah, this is legit. And of course, Steve Zing has, silver chrome Sharpies lying around. It all worked out. So,
man, I need some Steve Zing silver chrome Sharpies up in this bitch.
Dude.
Gotta up my game.
Gotta up your game, man.
I only got black Sharpies, man.
So tell me, you're kind of like my Joey Diaz right now, because you're the guy you've come on twice now. You're the most reoccurring guest I've ever had in the history of anything I've ever done. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You're the Joey Diaz.
Proud to be here, man. And not only am I a happy part of the show, I'm a happy fan, man. I'm always watching.
Thank you for your support. Yeah, I didn't know that was you. That was funny. You had made a comment. I was trying to remember what you said the other week. 245. I saw that, and I don't remember what you said. You said something, but I didn't know it was you. That was funny.
Yeah. Only someone like you would get that. 245, whatever. But the 3XN usually gives me some anonymity.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. That was a fun game we were playing last night. I enjoyed that.
I was discouraged that I didn't think you were enjoying it. You were like, this show's out. It's over. This is off the rails. This is out of control.
Because it was just I
was having a great time, dude.
It was such a crazy topic. I might
It
have
was
to
a
just
great topic.
show to it. Yeah.
Dude, you're out of your mind. That was the best topic in a while, dude.
Yeah.
You know how many
Yeah.
times I heard, I mean, all due respect, you know how many times I heard about Bobby Steele puking on damn fucking
I know. Very overtold
John
story.
Lennon?
Here, Joe,
You have overtold. You've told it 3 times on the show.
I have. I've told it a bunch, but here's the
It's
thing.
a great.
Joe.
I know you're a Beatles guy, and I know you're a Misfits guy. It makes sense. I understand why you would love and celebrate the story.
Joe, it's not even
Great
that.
story.
Though. Joe, it's not even that. The problem is that there's a finite amount of,
That's why you need Joey Diaz, bro. There's no finite amount of nothing, dude.
There is. There's
a
Misfits.
Misfits Central has been going on for like 20 years. Look at just go through the forum, dude. There's idiots talking about anything.
Actually, I was thinking of that. I was thinking of just looking at some of those old comments, man. Some of them are really funny.
Yeah, dude. There's plenty of conversation. You're out of your mind.
Oh my God.
You don't give yourself or the Misfits enough credit.
Yeah, it really is endless stuff. I've been saving a few topics, like the final night, the Halloween night. I have something very special for that, for the final show, that we will explore.
Final show?
Yeah.
Oh, the Misfits final show?
Yeah.
Or you're fighting? Okay, no. I thought.
No, a very unique perspective. Some people, I'm sure people are familiar with it, but
yo, you know what?
It'd be good.
Someone brought up to me the other day that they were watching our last episode, and they said that they've never seen two people interrupt each other so often, so politely, without like talking over each other. And I was watching. I caught a minute of it, and I'm like, it was kind of true. And I'm wondering, even now as we speak, there's probably a little delay between us.
There's a latency.
Yeah,
partially.
I think that might be a little to blame for it.
No, there's most certainly a latency issue, and it's probably my single greatest like flaw defect that I constantly try to work on. And the problem is twofold. One, it's like I have so much stuff in my head that I'm trying to remember, while at the same time I'm trying to listen to my guest, and at the same time, like so afraid that I'm going to talk over. It just becomes it's just a lot. It's hard to do this through the computer too. It'd be easier if it was in person. So yeah, but
yeah, here we are.
Who was that? Was that Loki who said that?
No, man, it was just some dude. Some dude. Some dude who watches the shows. He was. I was some dude. I was turning on to your stuff, man. Actually, he was. I guess he was like one of the dudes from Loki's podcast. Who I keep up with from there. I sent him over to check your stuff out. Yeah.
I got to tell you, some of the stories that are on Loki's podcast are really great. I really enjoy. I don't listen to every episode. I sort of cherry pick the ones that I do, but I enjoy the ones that I hear. I like to listen to them on YouTube. I don't like to do them live on Facebook. I like to wait for the whole thing to be out, and then with YouTube, it holds your place for you. You can just sort of come and go. So I'll just do that.
Oh yeah,
enjoy it. Best way to consume video. The video podcast is like a new sort of format, I guess, in the age of COVID. So I don't know.
Dude, I've wanted to do a podcast for so long now. Well before COVID. And I was like, dude, I wasn't going on podcasts for a while on purpose, and like all kind of saving it for like to do my own thing and have it be fresh when I did it.
Yeah.
And at this point, I have outweighted myself, And I'll tell you, like then I got on this kick of like, oh, I need equipment. Like I need a mic, I need all this. Now that I've been doing like, dude, I did like 32 hours on Loki's show thus far. Like doing like, I can't tell the difference. Like you and me sound no different than each other with a microphone or not. I'm about, dude. I might as well just start, because I want to do it and I want to do it good. And I'd like to have a level of professionalism to it, like I want to conduct serious interviews and have serious conversations and be taken seriously for it, like, so I don't want to just do, I've been hesitant to just do it with my phone, I'll tell you, the world needs another middle-aged white man with a podcast, like the hole in the head, like. But I don't know, man. Loki's really niched out that horror punk Joe Rogan thing for himself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like I'm happy for him, and it's awesome, and I'd love to be a part of it more. Lately he doesn't have as much time for it, and I'll tell you, I'm hesitant to. I don't want to steeze his gig, man. Did I use steeze right?
Steeze his gig? That's not how it's.
That's what I said. Did I use steeze correctly?
You didn't use steeze correct. Well, that's not how us New Yorkers use the word steeze.
I'm a steeze
is a noun. Well, that's not true. It can be a verb, but a steeze is like a steeze is a situation where it's a situation is what it is.
What?
Yeah, like a food steeze. You could have.
Is this your definition, or could I look this up on Urban Dictionary?
You want to know something? This is the definition from
you and your crew.
Yeah. So you know what? I will. I am not. I'm not going to say that is the definitive be all end all. That's where I come from. My parts of the woods. That's what you say. That's how you say it. You say, hey, you want to get in on the steez? You got a steez going on. Do you want to get a steez going?
I want to know the reality of how many people, if I surveyed people who knew you, what steez meant. I had this funny feeling that you would be the only person who uses the word steez.
A lot of my friends would instantaneously know how to tie me to the word steez. Let's put it that way.
I do.
So steez is steez. That's just how it is. Now you got me curious though. Let's go to Urban Dictionary. Let's check it out.
You didn't finish defining it yourself. What's your definition?
Okay, so like I said, a steez is a situation that involves a small amount of people. Not everybody is in on the steez. The steez is like, hey, we're gonna go off and do this thing on the low. On the low. It's essentially on the low, kind of. Doing this thing on the low. The original word, I do know steez is an abbreviation of style with ease. But then the drug dealers that I used to hang around with, they used to call it steez. A steez.
What if your Nana watches this?
Oh, my Nana knows all about that part of my life. Okay, so the top definition steez is plain old style with ease. You know my steez. That's from Gangstar. So that's a Gangstar song. Is that it? You've got to be kidding me. There's no other. Oh, here we go. Steez, style with ease, originating from the shadowboxing song by Jizza and Method Man. Okay, so that also says style with ease. Somebody's unique style. Come on. No. Okay, here we go. Here's a bunch of definitions. Ready? Style with ease, someone's trademark or their own style, general word replacement, i.e. thing, or yo, that dude's got mad steez. You know my steez. You go, okay, so look at this. And it says your name. You go into that steez at Joe's house tonight. That's exactly what it would be.
Yeah, dude. That's probably Method Man.
Yeah.
Method Man used to come over here and
I actually met Method one time.
Isn't he from Jersey? Actually,
I don't know. I saw him in the Denver International Airport. I walked right up to him and I was like, "You're Method Man," and he was like, "Yes, I am." And I shook his hand and I walked away, and that was it. I just had to. I was just so excited to see Method Man, and this was like 2003, maybe 2004, and I was like, "Yo, Method Man, what's up?" That was it. Didn't want a picture. Didn't want to bother him. Just wanted to be like, "Hey, Method Man," and he appreciated that, and that was the end of it. Just very quick, very brief. Don't always have to get up in people's business.
You're Method Man.
I'm not the Method Man.
No,
most certainly not.
No.
So what else is going on with you, Joe? What do you got? What do you got cooking? What's going on? Tell me.
Man,
you got any irons in the fire?
I got tons of irons in the fire. I got too many irons in the fire, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's redundant and tired to say, but COVID really, took the wind out of my sails with creative projects. I was coming off of like a time, like dude, I like was already quarantining in 2019 almost, you know, like aside from like creatively quarantined in 2019, you know, like I hadn't had a record out. I was kind of what do they call it? I was hibernating.
A long time. It's been a while, right?
Yeah,
Like an official record. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been a minute, dude. Did you say has it feel frustrating? Yeah.
I said I know that feeling. It's frustrating. I can I relate to that. Truly, I do.
You know? It's there's pros and cons to it. There have definitely been times that it's bothered me more than others, because I mean, like it's like I'm the type to not. I'd rather drop something out of nowhere than tease something out of far, you know?
Yeah.
So that waiting game has been fun. You know, like I've got to I can see the things that I would have released in normal circumstances, and I've had the chance to rethink them all. And like, for instance, like I've had 3 different titles for a new Darrow record, and I can't tell you if that would be 3 records by now, or if that would be, you know, or if I'm just getting to a better idea. You know, so I've had the chance to.
Do you have a full album,
bro? I have. It's very, dude. I have more music written and unreleased at this point than I've ever had for anything at one time in my life.
What about recorded and in the can?
It depends what you mean by recorded. I have like, I don't have a home recording setup. Like I don't have a home studio setup. Since I was a kid, Loki and me did that together, or me and Jason would do it together. And it was stupid to have one, because I was lived with those guys, or we worked together and shared like a studio space. So I never needed it. And you know, like I said, like 2016, like the greatest thing and all the gear getting stolen. I came home. I had no job. I had all this other stuff to replace. You know, like stuff got weird, man. Like just like back home, and like things just got snagged up real bad. And in this process, like, you know, I started a record in 2016, and you know, stuff happened at home, and like, or 2017.
Right.
Like family stuff, and I stopped, lost that guitar player, and started something else in 2018 with a different dude. Started a whole new records process. So like at this point, I have like 4 or 5 songs here, 4 or 5 songs there, 4 or 5 songs. And they're all recorded in different studios, different people, with different dude, the style and concept of the music I've written is for 3 different concepts at this point, which is kind of cool, because I guess at this point it's going to be the best of all those concepts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to stay optimistic and say that it'll be for the better. You know, like I have such a larger pot to pick from, rather than just what I wrote in the last year. You know.
Yeah, you have more in the way that Danzig does that. He picks from the creme de la creme in his mind of what he wants to put on a record. He records way more than what he has and puts out the best of the best. I'm sure there's a lot more in that Black Laden Crown section that we just never got to hear. You know,
I don't have the pleasure of doing that exactly.
Yeah,
but
when you get
the pleasure of recording them and seeing like songs through like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'll tell you, I don't know if Glenn's always doing that too, because from what I understand, in the later years, he's gotten pretty cheap about those things. Well, like he's not into spending the money.
He does it in drips and drabs. He'll record a couple of songs here, like Death Red was recorded over a 2-year period. From my understanding, started in 2008.
No, is Death Red the one that he ultimately plays drums on, right?
Yeah, he does Black Candy. Is drumming on Black Candy.
Yeah, that one got me.
He's actually a really good drummer. He is a good drummer, dude.
Really?
I think now he is.
Where do you get that from?
Just
Like,
from
where have you heard him play drums?
He plays drums on Black Laden Crown. Does a fine job of it, even though I don't like those songs. He played drums.
He does not play drums on that record. Johnny
Yes,
Kelly plays drums on that record. There's like 2 songs on that record he plays drums on. Am I mistaking something?
Johnny plays 2 songs on that record. The rest are Glenn. Or
it's
not.
I think it's Johnny. The other way around, buddy.
Hold on, let's take a look. Go into the.
I'm about positive. Because I remember reading the credits and being like, why would you play drums on a record that Johnny Kelly's the drummer on? You know, like,
Johnny Kelly is a great drummer. Okay, ready for this? Who do you think has the most tracks on Black Laden Crown? Go ahead. Who has the most tracks?
Glenn.
Yes.
Duh.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So drums on tracks 2, 4, and 7.
Okay, I said 2. It's 3 songs.
And he did Black Candy. I mean, he's done some drumming over the years. He drums. How about this? This will
over the years. I don't think he's played drums on anything before that. Actually,
who do you
officially
think
released?
Who do you think plays half the drum? Who do you think does half the drumming on November Coming and Fire?
You said November Coming and Fire. I caught that.
I was really hoping that you didn't.
I'll always catch it. What's your Joey Diaz for if I don't catch it?
Who does
November Coming and Fire? I would say that I guess it's not.
Are we good now?
I guess it would. I guess what you're getting at is it's Glenn. If
yes,
I'm
Glenn
supposed
does
to guess.
half the drumming, and that drumming on that album is awesome.
Which half?
I'll find out. Hold on. I don't know.
That's even stranger for me. November Coming Fire.
Because London had just come into the band, and he could not. I mean, it was. He's talked about it. London's talked about how challenging the drumming is. Ready? There's 11 tracks.
That's what I mean. It is better drumming.
Well, he drums on tracks 1. So he drums on Diablos 88. He drums on Birthright. He drums on Let the Day Begin. He does the drumming on November's Fire. And he does the drumming on Human Pony Girl. All of those are Danzig.
Really? So, has that always been out there?
Yeah, that's like a known fact. That's like a
known
thing. Yeah.
Known by who? Is it known by people who like use the word steez, or is it is like? I've never.
So
I mean,
go
not
ahead.
to say I'm an authority on everything, you know. I've never heard that before.
Steez is a very well-known, well-said thing in the way you just don't know a lot of New Yorkers. I'm telling you, Steez is a thing.
I spent 37 years of my life in New Jersey. You're gonna tell me I don't know a lot of New Yorkers?
Hey, Joe. Let's
listen,
we're going to this party afterwards. Let's let's go get in on the Steez. Or I got a Steez first. Or hey, Jeff, what's the Steez for later tonight? Oh, I'll let you know. Blah 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 blah. Steez, the Steez, Steez,
the Steez,
Steez. Dude, it's a thing. I'm telling you, it's the Steez.
So, where did you come to learn that Glenn played on November Coming Fire? Drums on November Coming Fire.
It's on Misfit Central, but it's like on Wikipedia. It's on a bunch of places, but mainly Misfit Central was the place that I learned that. And then London May said it. London May was talking to Eric Blair on the Blairing Out show, and he was like, "I think he
Blairing Out with Eric Blair,
right?" But he didn't say he didn't say that Glenn had drummed on half the tracks. He did say that coming into the band, it was very difficult to play some of those drum patterns, whatever drum beats that they were doing. And I can say this because both of this episode will have played already. Pete Marshall, Damien, on his episode, I asked him this question, blew my mind. I said, Damien, what is it in your opinion that
there's a Damien episode?
Yeah, dude. I just did a 2-hour episode with him.
Did it air?
No, it hasn't aired yet. Damien, Pete Marshall. Yeah, no, it's not going to air. Don't worry. I mean, it's not. What are you eyeglassing me for? I told you it's going to be out already by the time this episode comes out.
Oh,
yeah.
I got you. I didn't know.
Yeah. No.
Thought
I
that was
announced
top
it.
secret information. I thought that was in the can. I
No,
apologize.
it was.
Sorry,
It was.
folks.
Yesterday.
On eyeglass.
I made that announcement on the Lodi show yesterday, so it's well known now. Well, I don't know about well known, but
I apologize.
Point being, I was like, what is it about Sam Hain that, in your opinion, what makes it so unique musically? And his answer blew my mind. He said it's not based on the blues, like every other music form. And
he has a unique take on it, man, because he's not one of the fellas.
who?
Damien.
Well, I mean, the guy played. I mean, the guy played on all the songs. Like, I think he would. If anybody,
Sure, but his take on it is he comes from a different world as the rest of those guys. You know what I'm saying?
So do you think that is not, that's incorrect, or it's not valid?
No, I think it's a fine opinion. I think that you would only come to that opinion as a musician looking in. You know what I'm saying? Like those guys kind of all came up together, and they're about as musically educated as one another. They educated one another throughout the years. Like they're their own music class. All the Lodi boys.
Yes.
None of those dudes needed to like be shredders or know music theory or like.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't understand I didn't understand what you meant. Okay.
It wasn't so much appreciated or even like necessary in that pool of musicians. There's only a handful of dudes who are from outside of that pool of dudes who even ever came into the fold, who are significant. You got like John Christ.
Well, he's like super musically trained.
Yeah, he was musical beforehand coming in. I guess even are we calling him? We'll say Pete or Damien. I don't believe that he was musically educated. Yeah, I know. I don't believe that he was musically educated till after the fact either. But there's not a lot of those dudes who knew it when they were doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple of dudes might have like educated themselves after those records, but
what's interesting is that he said, first of all, he said it's not based on the blues, which kind of blew me away, because and again, I couldn't tell you what is or is not based on blues. I don't know music.
Well, rock and roll is based on blues,
right? I know that. Yeah, no shit. Like obviously, duh. But like I just mean like I couldn't write down on paper why that is though, or why it isn't. I just know that to be the evolution of music. But what was interesting?
What did he say it was based on? What did he say?
Well,
I'm interested in his adjective.
I think the word tribal, I don't know if I said it or if he said it. The word tribal came up obviously with the drum stuff. But what he did say, like for instance, like a lot of it is like it's just weird. It's just weird.
Well, weird and tribal aren't genres of music. I mean, tribal is not a genre of music, dude.
Well, okay, but it's an adjective for what the drums were like.
Yeah.
The drums were tribal drums, and then the guitar or the music was like a lot of repeating notes, I think is what he said, something like that. Or he was talking about like 2-note solos, something like that.
What's interesting, in my opinion, at least, about Sam Hain is that it's I'm not going to call it. I was agreeing that it's not blues based, but I'm still going to call it a rock band.
Oh yeah, I think
you don't find a lot of
right.
I guess you can. You're right.
Is Suicide or Kraftwerk a rock band?
Like everything's based on the blues. It's really hard to say that it isn't, that anything isn't based on the blues.
Right.
But for the sake of our conversation, like what was the question you asked me again? I'm sorry.
I didn't ask you a question. I was just telling you that he said. I was just saying that he said that it was his answer to me when I asked him that question. What made Sam Hain's music so incredibly unique and outside of the box?
What I was going to say was
and that blew my mind.
What's out of the box to me, what I would say would be that it's like bass forward. Like the Sam Hain is more based in its rhythm. Like the features in Sam Hain's music are more the rhythm section. The guitars are almost secondary in Sam Hain.
You know what's interesting? Do you know what other kind of music is like that too? And that kind of is like really weird. Freaking reggae, man, is like that too. The bass and the drums are everything in reggae, especially the bass. The bass is everything. The bass is the
that's the rhythm section is driving the song. I mean, that's the case in anything. That's the case in rhythm and blues and rock too. But typically in rock music or punk music or hard, the scene that Sam Hain comes up in is guitar forward, dude. That's guitar driven music. You know, it's rock.
I asked him. I said to him, I was like, you're in like the middle of like bum F, you know, whatever, like Kansas or something, and all these meathead hardcore bands have just gone on, and you guys are like doing a song like Macabre, like this super slow, like Macabre, or like, I don't know what, like The Hungry End or something. Like, what people essentially, it's like they're bringing goth to Midwest America. You know what I mean? Like, goth. What do you say?
Goth.
Come on. Is that a New Jersey guy making fun of a New York guy? For real?
I believe so. You're not New York. You're Long Island. Long Island.
I'm in Westchester.
You're upstate New York. It's very different than New York. You don't speak like a New Yorker. You speak like an Islander.
Let me tell you something. What you just said is the equivalent of me calling you a rock star.
Yeah, I apologize.
Those are words, Joe. Upstate New York, please.
You don't live in the city, bro.
I live 25 minutes north of the city.
Where did you grow up?
Yes.
Where'd you grow up?
25 minutes north of the city.
Oh, yeah.
Westchester, New York. I'm right next to
I probably live closer to the city than you do at that rate.
Actually, you might have lived closer to the city than me by George Washington Bridge. That's very possible.
Yeah,
I'm like 15 minutes from Lodi.
I'm like 8 minutes from Lodi.
Right, but that's my point, is that we kind of, we grew up in the tri-state area. This is the tri-state area with which.
Yeah, but here's the difference: is New Yorkers and New Jersey, like people from New Jersey and New Yorkers, talk pretty similarly.
Yeah, but we also, people in Bergen County,
people from New York City. And people. Well, Bergen County is populated by people who work in New York City. That's
Westchester too. Westchester is literally like, it's just adjacent to Bergen County. Both of these populations commute daily into the city to work. The tri-state area. That's what I'm saying.
I can't argue that.
You can't argue that.
I don't know the demographic of Westchester.
You can't. I mean, White Plains.
I always kind of figured that was just like the good, normal, non-city people of New York. Westchester, Long Island.
Dude, we're like the sixth borough, man. Like, we're right outside of the city, literally. The Yonkers and the Bronx, they don't really begin and end. It kind of blends into each other.
At where I grew up, I'm 1 mile from the state of New York.
So,
and let me tell you, that 1 mile is no more. It's no more New York there than it is. That ain't like the city at all. You don't find people speaking New York, but like a mile from me.
Which is why I find it ironic that you are making fun of the way I say goth.
Goth.
You should hear my Nana say pizza. She says pizza, which is
my grandparents. I was thinking about it yesterday. My grandparents, I would kill to hear them say it again. And there's people who say this, but they say batteries. I try to say batteries all the time. Like I try to work that into my lingo. I can't make it stick. Coffee. That's in. See that's Long Island, dude. Or that's like
You sound
that's not New York, bro.
You sound like an American, like confusing, like Northern Italian dialects from Southern Italian dialects, and as you know, Italy as a country, like, is really composed of city-states, and every single area of Italy or town or whatever is really its own culture and language that was all lashed together by one common thing. So a northern Italian person has such little in common with someone from Sicily or someone from the south of
that's kind of my point. The Northeast in general is very nuanced, dude. Like someone from, dude, New Jersey's a small state, dude. You can break New Jersey down into 3 separate places, and it might as well be 3 separate states. And there's 3 different traditions and ways that people speak. And
now take what you just said and apply
it to New York.
To New York, in the sense of you have New York City, and then you have Westchester, which sits right above, and then everything above Westchester might. That's my
point. You ain't New York.
It's another country. It's another that's upstate New York.
That's why you guys talk weird and say shit like Goth.
You sound like
because you're from another country.
You sound like someone who lives in the financial district, like Wall Street, who goes, "Oh yeah, upstate New York, Westchester." Like that to them, Westchester is upstate New York, but it's just like
I don't know geography, bro. I don't know where it is. It's not New York City, and it's not New York State, really. It's that way.
No,
it's close. It's closer to the city part.
Long Island is like Westchester East. It's like East, like, you know, in the sense of like being another area where people commute into the city, but it's its own separate thing. Completely.
I can tell. You guys say Goth over there.
That's like, you know what that's like? That's like telling calling a Ukrainian a Russian and vice versa. That's like a big no-no. It's like I
miss when things were like that. I appreciate that I appreciate that we're such a educated and
is the word, Joe. We're enlightened.
Enlightened. Yeah. I'm happy that's where we're at. But I missed it the old way. It's a lot more fun that way.
I know. And you want to know something? There are some things that I truly roll my eyes at, but you want to know what? I have truly come to embrace the age of enlightenment in many, many areas, you know, because I don't know. I just think that's progress, man. Like, it's just like, look at, I'll give you a non sequitur for that, Joe. Now back like 40 or 50 years in the South, and like you see a black guy trying to use a water fountain, he gets beaten up by the cops, and you would just be like, you know, who wants that? You know, like, who wants the old way? The old way sucks. You know what I mean? Like someday, you know, people are gonna go, you know, they turn around, like already, you know, 20 years on, you know, I used to say F word, I used to call things gay all the time.
I miss those things.
Yeah, well, it's like calling a black person the N-word. Like, you can't do it's not.
You're right.
We're learning. We're getting enlightened, Joe. We're getting enlightened. This is enlightenment. This is good. You know.
You're right, and I agree with you.
And that's.
But listen, there's a difference between the N-word and the F-word, though. When me and you used the F-word 10 years ago, we weren't using it as a derogatory term to insult gay people.
I'll say this, Joe. This is what I'll say about what you're saying right now.
We were saying pansy.
We were naive people.
Nancy.
No, we were naive people who had no malevolence behind what we were saying. But in reality, one is like the other. And we now know that to be true. But back then, there was no malevolence when I used that word at all.
We're not wrong for using the language that we're brought up on surrounds us. And, you know, like, you're going to talk like the people who you're around. You know, that's the language of your people. You have to communicate with these people, you know, like, so you got to use their words, man. You know, like, I don't fault any of us for like I said, man, like me, a lot of my life is on videotape.
No, it's
you know, like,
enlightenment is the key word here. Enlightenment.
A lot of my teenage years are on videotape, and are documented. And so, like, You can absolutely find me in my crew using words like the F word, throwing it around, dude. You know, like, and you won't find any of us. You won't find us speaking like that nowadays. But
listen,
here's the problem. When I come to a point where I don't know what other word to use than that word to describe something. I don't like to.
You ever see the show? Did you ever see the movie Johnny Dangerously?
No, actually.
Great movie with Michael Keaton. And the bad guy who, instead of cursing, you know what he says? He says Fargan.
Argan?
Fargan.
Say
Fargan.
No. What are I call you a farget? What are you saying, man?
Or Joe, do you watch anything nerdy like Battlestar Galactica?
Hell no, dude. What do you think this is?
Use the word frag. That's a word that they use in the future. Frag this. Frag that. It's part of like the B-Star G language. They say that fragging thing. Blah, 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 blah.
I ain't letting go of the other F word, dude. I don't care. I don't care. Ain't taking that one from me.
Joe, let me ask you this. You brought up Michael Gray. You brought up like the Michael Graves thing before about the when you were telling me about trying to write new material for Darrow and blah blah blah. And I was always curious to know. It seems like it was a crazy time. What was the Mark Allen Stewart period like at when you were in that band? Was it like weird? Like what was that whole experience like for you?
From the outside looking in of that situation, like as I was stepping back into his band and what I knew of Mark Allen Stewart, how they were doing business and everything like that, and my perspective of when I was in that fold are different, obviously. And it was different again going out of it as well. So I have like 3 different opinions on it. I didn't care for how they did business. I didn't care for Mark Allen Stewart. I didn't care for, and I had no personal experiences with him before I had worked with him, but I from what I saw of how things were being run, from what I understood and knew of him, his experience and his character, and from what I heard from fans, I didn't care for the guy. Working with and under him, I came to understand him, and find unique things that he brought into that fold that were necessary. I was never wrong about anything he said before. The guy has never worked for a band before. He's never worked for a band, let alone a punk rock band or anything like that. Right. I think what the problems that a lot of people had with Mark Allen Stewart would be that he wasn't old school, that he had a completely fresh perspective on everything, which was kind of a good thing too. A lot of the problems that arose from Mark Allen Stewart is he didn't have one foot in the past and he didn't know the history of the band. That was like his best and worst attribute. Because like, for instance, we have traditions, every band does, not traditions, but people we work with. Time and time again over the years, we have a guy for this, a guy for that. Yeah. That went out the window with Mark, and same with fans, man. We have a guy who books our shows in this city. We have a band that opens all our shows in this city. We have a photographer who always shoots us here. We have a video guy who, like you call Jeff. Yeah, like all of that got thrown out the window, and a lot of people got pissed off about that stuff. I understand how those people feel. And Mark he didn't know, but he should have acclimated himself to that situation and learned a little more of the history of the situation. On the other hand, he brought something completely unique and fresh to the perspective and had that, looked at things just way differently and brought new things into the fold that, like some of it, traditions aren't always good, man. Like 10 years ago, the band wasn't able to do these things, and we did things this way as a result of where we were at 10 years ago. And you get stuck in those patterns,
Yeah.
Mark brought a lot of professionalism into the situation that, it maybe couldn't have been there when the traditions were established, and maybe should have been. Mark is he's not horror punk per se, and he has no insider perspective on the music or the scene at all. He is horror as fuck. That dude is like he's true grit on the horror movies, and he's like a true horror sci-fi nerd. And his knowledge and education of and love for that type of stuff is valuable, especially to someone like Michael, who I'm not calling the dude a poser by any means. Michael certainly went to school and all of that, like one way or the other. He did his hours,
Yeah.
But Michael didn't grow up a nerd on that stuff. You know what I'm saying? He
Were you there
into the world of the Misfits and learned that as he was going. Mark brought to the situation a love for it all, and his cueing of Michael on that and the way that Michael respected him and listened to him, probably he was able to get out of Michael Graves what most people wouldn't be able to get out of him.
Yeah.
Through his not coming from that world,
Yeah.
but loving and appreciating sci-fi and horror. He was able to key Michael into and encourage him and get him to check these movies out, be into this, look at songwriting through that lens again. You know what I'm saying? Mark Allen Stewart's not a bad guy, dude. I'll tell you that much. I was certainly mistaken to think what the common fan perspective would have been of him. He's a good dude, man. He's just pretty misunderstood. He's a different animal, dude.
Were you there in the studio when Michael was recording stuff with Mark? I just heard weird things. I just heard weird things like in studios.
Was Mark in the studio when Michael was recording?
No, I just heard that when Mark was in the studio with Michael, that like it was just a weird situation. I just didn't know if you knew anything.
That's what I'm asking. What was he actually in the studio with Michael? Did he? It's
I don't know.
Oh, I know what you're talking. I think that happened on one record. I wasn't there. I don't know. I've heard of it though. I think more than anything, Mark's influence on the music and the songwriting. It's not he was sitting there recording with Michael. I understand that one time that had happened. He was in the studio on hand, but he would propose ideas and concepts, and he would challenge them. Like, why don't you write a song about this, the day the earth stood still? And this song, this movie is about this, and here's this, and I think you should write a song. Basically, it was interesting because Mark Allen Stewart was very educated in sci-fi and horror, classic sci-fi and horror, and probably was learning it all as he was going. Now you're talking like an educated, not punk man in his 50s, getting it right in front of our eyes, and he was probably putting it all together, and I'm sure he was so creative and had those ideas because it was exciting, because he was probably learning like, wow, I love all these movies, and I understand the stories, the underlying stories of these characters and the storytelling of it, and there is so much metaphor in these movies, and it is a rich place to be creative from, dude. And it is. That's why horror punk is so exciting. That's why it's so much fun to create that lens. It's because most monster movies are a metaphor in and of themselves. The monster usually is a metaphor.
Beauty and
so
the Beast.
It's already created of a metaphor. Like,
Beast.
Yeah, I mean, that's why. And I mean, I'm going against myself here, but look at Romero, dude. Look at the Of the Dead series, man. Those are all political commentaries, dude.
That's about that is not about Beauty and the Beast.
No, I know,
but
it's it's politically fueled, or it's societally fueled. I mean,
Night
like
of the Living
that
Dead
movie, it ain't about zombies, you know. Like
Night of the Living Dead came out in 1968, but it might be one of the most like contemporary films of our time. It's just that's why when people ask me, I love in my heart, I love Return of the Living Dead. But if someone asks me point blank, and I have to answer this stupid question that I hate this question, what is your favorite movie? I hate that. I don't. Who has a fucking favorite movie? You can't have a favorite movie. I got a million favorite movies. But if
you
you're
need
gonna
to
make
pay me to answer that.
if you're gonna put a gun to my head and you're gonna make me choose one movie, it's gonna be Night of the Living Dead. Hands
Night.
Night over Return. Yes, I know.
What do you call favorite, man?
I
I'll put it to you this way, without even I haven't watched TV through your eyes, buddy, but I'm gonna bet that you've seen Return of the Living Dead more than you've seen Night.
I've seen Return of the Living Dead more than I've seen Night of the Living Dead, I think, but I've seen Night of the Living Dead. I watched it at the same age. We talked about this last time. I watched it at the same age, and I've seen it I've probably seen Night of the Living Dead 100 times, maybe. I've seen it many, many, many times. Not as many times as I've seen Return of the Living Dead. That just we've spoke about that. I just over.
Well, I mean that
many
becomes
times,
what makes a movie
many
your
times.
favorite. That what's your parameters for what makes something your favorite? What's like
Well,
what makes something your favorite movie? I mean, like, is it that you appreciate or you respect Night of the Living Dead more than any other movie, or is it that you like it more than any other movie? Because I don't think you like it more than any other movie. Because you've probably seen Happy Gilmore more times than Night of the Living Dead, or or I don't know.
The three movies I've seen more than any other film in the world, possibly, are Night of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead, and the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I hate the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I know you said that last time, Joe.
Can't
But
stand it.
Simply this. First of all, there are many times where I started Night of the Living Dead and I didn't finish Night of the Living Dead because I was on a steez, and that's how those things sort of go.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. Night can. I understand that night can easily become background.
That's the steez, my friend. That's what I'm talking about.
Night can become background like that, though, dude. Like that's my point. I'm not shitting on it, by any means. It's certainly a fun movie.
The reason why I pick Night of the Living Dead over Return of the Living Dead is because even though Return of the Living Dead, again, it hits me in the heart. It appeals to my soul. I love it. It's one, you know what? It's like the duality of man. You know what I mean? It's like one side is Return of the Living Dead and the other side is Night of the Living Dead.
Do you think the guys who wrote Return of the Living Dead like Dan O'Bannon and sat down and were like, people are going to speak about this movie and its duality?
No, but it's not there's no duality in Return of the Living Dead. I'm just saying that one part of me, the serious socio-political studying, I think like Night of the Living Dead is the brain and Return of the Living Dead is the heart. And that's the difference for me when I like.
Do we ever have Romero weighing in on Night on Return?
He appreciated what they did. I mean, that's what Dan O'Bannon was trying to do. He's like, first of all,
I know that they were trying to write him a love letter.
Well,
I know they were fans.
Dan O'Bannon was like, I can't not acknowledge Night of the Living Dead and try to tell the story. The only way it's going to work. And here's a hot take for you, Joe. What many people may not realize that when people say, some people ask me, oh, favorite sequel to Night of the Living Dead. And I could say, oh, my favorite sequel, Return of the Living Dead. Because Return of the Living Dead is technically a sequel to Night of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
It is. It's a sequel to the movie. You could literally do a double feature of Night of the Living Dead, and then the follow-up movie would be Return of the Living Dead, and it would make sense. And Dan O'Bannon's writing this film, and he's just like, how can I do the same thing? what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the inverse of everything that George did. They're not gonna be slow. They're gonna be fast. It's not gonna be friggin' Hicks in the farmhouse. It's gonna be punks in a mortuary. Just sort of turning every single element, trying to make it contemporary in the sense of using punk music for the soundtrack, And just, and again, this is the guy who wrote Alien, one of the finest genre screenplays of all time, So,
do you think that Return was a great idea?
I think
or do you think it was a modern writer and director responding to what was going on in society and catering to the audience?
There's absolutely nothing political. You know what? You know how people are always saying, "Oh yeah,
I don't think that they were trying to write something as highbrow, and I don't think that as of Night of the Living Dead, that people were. Do you think that they were appreciating or acknowledging the socio-political aspects of Night of the Living Dead when approaching Return? You think, or they were just looking at it as a great. You don't start to really. I mean, now we're looking at it retrospectively, and we're cued in on the background of what Romero was writing about in that trilogy of movies, or that series of movies.
He without
Dawn and Day, was it like do you think that in 1981 that people were looking at Night of the Living Dead as a political or social statement? Yeah.
Here's the thing. Night of the Living. Okay, so if we're just talking about Night of the Living Dead, even a decade after it came out, is a statement on the Vietnam War. It's a statement on civil rights. Probably.
Do you think it's purposefully, or do you think it's just exists within the time that it exists in? I mean, those are current events of the time. No. So
Romero and Image 10 went out. Sorry, the Latent Image, not Image. Oh yeah, no, it was Image 10. Romero and Image 10, that's his production company, went out to make a schlocky black and white horror film about flesh eaters. No doubt that's what happened. But what happened was, in the process, it being an independently made film and using locals, they sort of created this docudrama aesthetic. When the people are running through the field, it looks like documentary footage. It looks like documentary footage that could have been seen on the news at that time, which reflected on sort of, a lot of, social upheaval. The final thing that really cinched Night of the Living Dead, and honestly, the part of Ben is written to be a white guy. It's just this white trucker guy. Dwayne, what the hell is his name?
Dwayne Reed.
No, not Dwayne Reed. Oh my God, what's his last name? Why am I brain farting on this? Night of the Living Dead. Dwayne.
Oh, what's his name? Are you talking about that? I know.
Black guy who stars as Ben.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's his name? This is blowing my mind. Why is this falling out of my brain? Wait. Hold on.
Because you haven't been to Chiller Theater in a decade?
Really? Oh, Dwayne Jones. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dwayne Jones. Dwayne Jones comes in, auditions for the part, turns out to be absolutely better than anybody they could have possibly imagined, and simply chose him because he was the best guy for the role. And in doing so, rewrote the entire story with a casting choice. You know what they say? They say that 90% of directing is casting, right? So, or something like that, or half the act. There's like, casting is a huge element in filmmaking. Just by putting a black guy in that role, all of a sudden you have this unspoken racial tension that's going on between.
Yeah.
You have this white dude, Harry Cooper, friggin' getting into it with Ben, back and forth, going over a power struggle. And when you put that against what's going on in 1968, mind you, Martin Luther King Jr. is shot. There's crazy riots back in April. Martin Luther King Jr. gets shot. There's crazy riots happening all over the place. I mean, again, you have segregated South. Like, there's all this racial tension. And then what do? You stick them in a farmhouse during a national pandemic emergency crisis. I mean, of course there's going to be socio-political stuff that comes out of even a schlocky black and white horror film. And
Okay. All right, here's my question. Do you think, all right, let's say a white guy was cast in that role. Do you think that listen,
what it is
by,
today.
By putting a black guy in that role, I understand how the perception is going to become something different. As that movie is written as a script, though, do you think that the script is meant to be a social or political commentary?
I still think,
or do you think that it's like, hey, we got a black guy. People are going to see and perceive this of this character when a black man plays it, so we should probably roll with this?
Two things. First of all, John Russo, who also has a story credit for Return of the Living Dead, he takes credit for writing Night of the Living Dead. But anybody who's a Romero nut knows that George Romero wrote most of the screenplay. That's number one. Number two, that screenplay is actually based a little bit on I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, which also became a movie, The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, shares a lot of DNA with Night of the Living Dead. That's number two. Number three, I think, as I've said about the Misfits, because people, I once posed this question, and I truly believe this. I think that if you create art, if you are creating art, then it is political in some way, shape, or form, whether you intend it to be or not. Because when you create art, you put messages out that people are either going to read into on their own or might just be there the whole time, even if you didn't intend for them to be. And it may not necessarily be political in the sense of like presidents and like nations and stuff, but the instance, like, being a teenager is political. The politics of being a teenager is insane. That's what the Misfits are writing about. I turned into a Martian.
The Martian.
Yeah, well, it's a politics of being an outsider. Where Eagles, you don't think Where Eagles Dare isn't a political song about picking up every loser on the street? We ain't no goddamn son of a bitch. You better think about it, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think Wolf's Blood? There's no politics in Wolf's Blood about turning into a werewolf and tearing off your face because you don't know who I am or what I go through. All that stuff is political. It's just not political on a political level. It's political on like there's various different levels of politics. So when they wrote Night of the Living Dead, of course there's going to be, of course there's some politics are going to get thrown in there in some way, shape, or form. But it was nothing.
Do you think that Romero had the vision that like he wasn't looking down the scope of like, I'm going to do a second movie and it's going to be a commentary on this war? Like, of course not. It's all responses.
Here's what happened. So Romero, over the years, and eventually it plagued him because he got pigeonholed in this way, and eventually it became his curse. Sadly, because there were so many other like projects and vehicles that Romero was either attached to or that Romero wanted to do and never got a chance to do because the only thing that he could get to sell was zombies. But what Romero would do is he would use zombies, as you said, akin to this, he would use zombies to talk about
as the vehicle to tell a story or as a metaphor.
And so I think the Colonel
is brilliant.
The Colonel of Dawn of the Dead, which is a commentary on consumerism and being trapped in a mall and consumerism, like a whole laundry list of things in that. All of that really stemmed from the idea of, if you're going to be in this disaster situation, what's the best place to go? The mall. And that was the Colonel. And the thing that's interesting about the 3 Dead movies is that, again, as you said, the zombies are not the zombies are never the bad guy. It's always the people are way more evil, and the situations that are going on between the people in all 3 movies are insane. The first one, Night of the Living Dead, is about there's an outbreak disaster happening. All these people are trapped in a house together, and because they can't work together, civilization is destroyed. And civilization is this microcosm of civilization, which is a farmhouse. The farmhouse is it's like its own little civilization. And because they can't get along, because they can't agree on a strategy, on a plan, they all destroy themselves in the process, right? And what's funny is the a-hole of the situation turned out to be right all along. It's the good guy who's thinking straight turned out to have the plan that was not so great because he was thinking pragmatically, and he couldn't see through the situation. That's that movie. Dawn of the Dead, as I said, again, people thrust into a situation, and if you're going to be trapped in a disaster, because what do people care about more than anything? Consuming things, going to the mall, buying stuff. You wind up in the mall, and then of course marauders come, and they can't share. We can't have nice things.
There's also the aspect of that is I think the mall is also a statement of, or it may have it shows empathy for the zombies because it shows humanity in the zombies because it's familiar to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, there was that whole aspect of they're returning here because they remember doing these things, and then
they don't know what else to do.
Well, the commentary that people are zombies at the mall too. That's literally, you could literally boil it down into that very simple sentence. And even there, there's tinges of
See, in that way, I write politically, but I consider that societal. Like, I mean, dude, the Les Darrow record is a societal poke like that. But I mean, when you say that, and the mall is what cues me to think like this. Like the whole Plastic Smile concept is a play on consumerism, and like,
Plastic Smile,
like I wrote a lot of the records sitting in a mall specifically on purpose, like trying to get that or trying to put that in there because I knew that's what I was going for. Yeah, no, totally, dude. It's about sheeple.
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 That's a good horror punk song.
She's got an iPhone, so does he, and now I need one too.
Whoa, bah, the sheeple.
The sheeple people.
Yeah, but you want to know what? And then Day of the Dead. What is Day of the Dead about? Day of the Dead is the military versus the scientists, and like,
what's my least favorite? Well, that's not true.
Oh my god, dude, it is such a masterpiece. It's so bleak and nihilistic, but it is just like, whew, oh my god, the three movies together as a trilogy are the best.
My perspective is weird on that because like I got into all of like my love for horror movies goes back to, kind of reminds me of something we didn't talk about on our first episode, Kinder Scare. We got off on a Kinder drama. Yes, we got off on a tear on that and never got back to it. And it was an interesting topic, but I got into horror movies. I think like most people, so young. That like, when I was watching Dawn and Day for the first time, I wasn't appreciating the societal or political statements or commentaries that were being made. I was looking at people getting ripped apart by zombies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, and to me, it's like I'm very much an extremist, and the things I like, I tend to love. And so like, let me tell you, I really beat it down my throat, like a lot of those movies. So now I can watch a documentary on these things, or I've just become educated from being in the world of these movies, like that I learn things, I know things, and I get things from the scope of an adult, But you tend to love, and this is the same for music, man. Your heart tends to reside on what you first fell in love with. You know what I'm saying? Like you always tend to go back to what first drew you to music or movies or whatever. So the kid in me still can't look at as an adult. I appreciate Day. As a kid, I don't have kids as much.
Dude, it had the most. It had the most guts in it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
The best gut scenes. Choke on them. I mean, it had everything in it. And what was really crazy too about that is that, I mean, it really had a lot going on. The best scene, and by far the best scene.
I think it's the speed of it too, man. Dawn moves a little faster. I mean,
No,
do you have the?
Than Dawn? Oh my God, what are you talking about? Dawn moves at
Yeah.
a snail's pace, or it
Well,
can't.
dude, do you have I don't know what editions or what your
Oh, I have
dude.
them
There's
all.
like 9 cuts
The
of
cut, the theatrical cut, the
yeah that black box set.
cut, and the extended mall hours cut.
I have like a box set of Dawn of the Dead that's got like 6 cuts of the movie. Is it the black one, red cover, or red?
It has 3. It has 3 cuts.
Mine's got 5 or 6 discs, man. No shit.
It might have 6 discs, but it's only got 3. There's only 3 cuts of that movie.
Bro, there's like a 4-hour cut of the movie, and it's slow as shit, dude.
Together, that's the extended mall hours.
Excuse me.
Extended mall hours cut takes all the footage that was in the Argento cut and all the footage that was in the extended director's Cannes cut and puts it into the theatrical cut, making the longest possible cut of the movie, which is about 2.5 hours.
Man, it's been a while since I've watched any of those deep cuts. They're hard to watch, dude.
It's coming right now. Actually, I just got the second the whatever it's called. I forgot the name of the label. Brand new definitive box set of Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray. I've never owned it on Blu-ray. I've been waiting. Finally did it. I bought this release. I don't even have a Blu-ray player that can play it. I have to get a brand new Blu-ray player just to be able to play this. That's how much I wanted it. I had to get it. Listen,
what is it called? Like what is it called? Blu-ray? What is it called? HD?
Region 2. It's a Region 2 Blu-ray. I need a Region 3 Blu-ray player.
I got a funny story with that. When I was working for Marky, he gave me a copy of Raw, and I got home and I was like, oh, cool, man. I want to check this out. You know, Ramones Raw, cool. I put it in my DVD player. He gave me like a European region fucking copy of it. You bastard.
You know, the one time I met John Cafiero backstage at the Misfits Riot Fest show, the second show in Chicago. First time I ever met Jerry Only, and so I was.
How's that happen?
It's a whole.
How is it that you've met like every fucking dude? You've met like the dudes who did coffee for the fucking Misfits. Like got the fucking coffee, and you only met Jerry Only once.
I've only met Jerry Only one time. I've seen him. However, I saw Jerry Only at a TSOL flag concert.
He's such an accessible and friendly dude. And to be honest with you, a guy like you seems like someone Jerry would want to be buds with.
You know what's funny?
He would love you, actually.
Danzig. I've met Glenn Danzig more times than I've met Jerry Only. I've met Doyle more times than I've met Jerry Only. But I've
never shook that guy's hand in my life.
Who?
Doyle. I've never met Doyle before.
It's like a catcher's mitt. Like I put my hand in this giant like thing. I'm like, wait, that's your hand. You use that to play guitar. You use that to like, destroy guitars. Like, is it
would meeting Jerry blow it for you?
What do you mean? I met Jerry.
Well, or becoming close with him, or having a relationship or rapport. Would that blow things for you? Would it be too many answers?
I don't.
Would it would it take the mystery? Would it take the mystery out of things? Because if you could just text Jerry and ask him something.
Oh, I would. I would just pick his brain all day long. But the thing is, I wouldn't get, again, this is why we do different Jerry Only interviews in the Lodi show.
You see, man, Jerry's not hard to fucking befriend, and he would like a dude like you, man. Like, absolutely. You're for how entertained and educated you are on it all. He loves talking about himself and his band, man. He would love you.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Would be surprised if he was watching right now. Hello, Mr. Kayapa.
Hello, Uncle Jerry, if you are watching. But no, what I was going to say was when I met John Cafiero, and I had nothing to say to him. I literally had nothing to say to this guy.
What would you have to say to the guy? You especially.
All I said to him was, because I had listened to the commentary on Ramones Raw, which he conducted with Johnny Ramone and Marky Ramone, and that's
all I would talk to John Cafiero about would be the Ramones.
Well, I go, John. I go, I have to hand it to you, John. You got because Johnny was just sitting there. He wasn't saying anything. Marky's talking, but John, there's all this. Everything's passing by, and mind you, Marky's still around. Johnny's gone. Johnny's gone. We'll never know. You never hear anything from him ever again. And here's John Cafiero on the commentary from Ramones Raw, coaxing answers out of Johnny in like this very easy way. Like he's like, I really was grateful for him because he's like, oh, he knew how to prompt Johnny to start talking. And all of a sudden, Johnny just opens up. He starts talking about all this stuff that he would have just said, because he's just like, Johnny doesn't know what to do during a commentary. He's just sitting there being Johnny Ramone. And so John Cafiero actually gets him to talk. And I brought that up to him and thanked him.
He's his Mark Allen Stewart.
I guess. Well, all I know is he was
Johnny trusts him, man. Really, he's his dude. He's kind of I don't know John Cafiero's official role to Johnny while he was alive. Did they have official business? He had to have a title.
He ran the estate. He ran the
he runs the estate since Johnny isn't here. I'm saying when Johnny was alive, what was Cafiero's title or role?
Just like a manager, just some sort of manager person.
Yeah, entity. It's some sort of not official. Gotcha.
I don't know. I honestly
don't know either.
But when I saw him and I didn't have anything to say to John Cafiero, I brought that up and suddenly we were talking about the Ramones and I had a really good time talking to him because I obviously wasn't going to bring anything Misfits related up.
Why didn't you discuss the finer points of Osaka pop star?
Oh my God. I just, I found a way to talk to him. The person who I want to talk to even more than Jerry, you know who I want to talk to? Kanj. That's Jerry's best friend since 1977. He was there from the beginning.
I'm learning something else, Kanj.
Steve Zing. After my first interview with Steve Zing called me up and was like, oh, you should try and talk to Kanj. That guy was around from the beginning. I was like, are you serious? So and what was funny was I called up Kanj.
But here's the thing, someone like that, if he's currently Jerry's people, you're not gonna. He knows what to and not to say.
Well,
he ain't gonna give you anything that Jerry ain't, or
Well, I tried to set up an interview with him, and he goes, "Hold on, I got to take this call. Hold on, let me put you on hold." Puts me on hold.
Jerry, can I talk to this guy?
He comes back and he goes, "Oh, I was just on the other line with Jerry." And he was like, and he mentioned that he had told him about me. I was like, ooh. I was like, no. And that was the end
about
of it.
Me?
Yeah, but I saw Kanj backstage too that same time. And I walked right up to him and I was like, hey man, I was like, do you remember me? And he was like, yeah, I do remember you actually. And I was like, so how's it going? And I was like, oh, it's good. It's good. And that was it. And I just got to sort of hang around backstage. But listen, it is 8:58. I have a hard out at 9. So this is part 2 of a to be continued. We're going to have Joe back on to do.
How is it part 2? Is it, this part 3? You already broke the last chat into 2.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So this would be, well, should we call this part 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
hard Doyle shrug.
Yeah. We'll go to part 4 eventually. We'll Joe and I will set something up on the schedule to do a part 4. I'm really glad to have.
I want to talk about Kinder Scare or I'm sorry. What was it? Kinder
Trauma.
I want to talk about Kinder Trauma, dude.
We're gonna, the next episode is gonna be all about Joe's Kinder Trauma.
Just mine, just generally.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
Talk about a lot of stuff. It's gonna be really great. And I didn't even get a chance to tell you about, I spoke to, remember Dead Geen, remember Richie from Blood Sucking Zombies from Outer Space?
Yeah. How was he?
He was just on the show and we had this great conversation about horror movies, but
Has it aired?
No, it hasn't aired yet. It'll air on Friday. You can watch that on Friday. And this is why you'll want to watch it, Joe. His distribution strategy was genius. They had a tour. They got hit by COVID and they needed a way to bring income into the band. And he thought of the most ingenious marketing, ploy, idea concept for putting out an album. I just think it's brilliant. And they sold out, they pre-sold it and it was a success. And watch that.
I gotta tell you what it is. Man.
Right,
so it is out now or it isn't out now?
Super quick. You'll
Cliff
hear
notes, yeah.
on the episode. This is what he did was when he used to get horror films, he would get a box set. And no, he would buy, when you buy something and it comes with the box set, but the box set is empty and you have to get each release as it comes out to fill the box set up.
No, but go on.
That's like a thing with horror films. There's a lot of things with records. So he's like, guys, why don't we do that for our next album? Since we already have a recording schedule. We already have a recording session scheduled. Let's record a single. We'll put it out. And then what we'll do is we'll do a box set. You can pre-order the records. It comes as a subscription. So every month for 6 months, they're putting out a single. And at the end of the 6 months, they're releasing it as a full-length vinyl with, I think, additional tracks.
So they sold you a box?
No, they didn't sell me anything. I didn't order it. I'm saying
not you. They sold people a box
with the first single. It comes with the first single and the box, and then you got to fill the box up with the rest.
What is the form of media? Is it CDs? Is it vinyl? What is it?
Theoretically, Joe, you could do it with a CD, but
what did they do?
7 inches. Okay. And what you do is,
So did they sell people a box?
They sold people the box with the first vinyl, and it was limited to 222 copies, and they sold out in 24 hours.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and what really
should have made more.
Well, what really impressed me and blew me away by it was that.
You know what doesn't impress me?
What?
When an independent artist sells out of something.
Why?
Not impressed. Because that means they didn't make enough. That's stupid. You should be ashamed of selling out of something if you're an independent entrepreneur. You're a moron for selling out of something.
I will say this, and I'll end with this. I will say this. I actually disagree with you in the sense that what they're doing is they're doing something super limited and special. And all of those songs are going to be available on its own collectible LP in the form of the full album will be available for anybody who wants to buy it. It's just if you want
all of those songs will be part of a collective project. That gotcha. Okay, yeah, no, that's all right. I'll give you that.
I thought
I think it's irresponsible for instance, we spoke about that Misfits guitar pedal that'll totally get re-released. I think it's irresponsible for an artist to always is going to sell at least 1,000 of something to put out 250 of something, because it's not irresponsible. You shouldn't be making your fans pay exorbitant amounts of money for something that there's a demand for at a price that's absurd collectively. You're not even making yourself money at that point. You're making money for your fans. You're stimulating a bootleg market. You should be making copies proportionate to your audience, like your numbers or your sales,
Yeah.
You should be fulfilling that a quarter or half of that demand, not making it so rare that people are going to sell it for something ridiculous. And not only is it, you're putting the money in the hands of your I guess your fans are winning in the way that they're going to sell it and make money off of it. But
yes.
Listen, you're also making a lot of fans pay a lot of money for something that's, why should you pay hundreds of dollars for a 1-year-old 7-inch?
Yes. Okay.
I apologize. I don't mean to bring you down that road.
I cannot wait to discuss this further along with Kinder Trauma, which is great. We have 2 hooks to latch into the next time. We don't even need to warm up. We'll just go into it. I'll be in touch about dates, maybe sometime in December. And we will be in touch. But until then, this has been another episode of Pizza Punk with JV effing Bastid, because this is a PG show, right? We say Bastid because I guess YouTube doesn't like bastard. And here's another nightmare for you.